Welcome to SAG-AFTRA Foundation's The Business Program. I'm Jenelle Riley, Deputy Awards and Features Editor at Variety. Before we're joined by our guest today, I want to let you know that the SAG-AFTRA Foundation is a nonprofit organization that relies entirely on donations to provide emergency assistance and free educational programs to SAG-AFTRA artists. This conversation is made possible thanks to the generosity of our supporters. Over the past year, the foundation has given over $7 million in COVID relief to more than 7,500 performers. So if you are a SAG-AFTRA artist and you need help, please ask. And if you can help, please give. Information can be found in the description of this video. Thank you for your support. And now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Paolo Sorrentino and his wonderful translator, Lilia. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations on The Hand of God. It is such a beautiful and deeply personal film. I'm curious, when did you know it was time to tell this story?
I realized during the pandemic that it was the right moment to do this movie. I turned on 50 and I started to think to the fact that it's important to do just the movies that I need to do. And this one was the first of the list because I thought about this movie for many, many years. So, so this was the, it's a personal autobiographical, but there was the right distance in years from that moment of my life, partly painful. And so I thought that it was the right moment to do this kind of movie for me.
So you'd been thinking about this for years, I believe. Yes. When did you actually sit down and write the script?
3 years ago, I was writing a sequel of a TV show, and it was very tiring to write so many episodes of that show. So I thought, okay, maybe I can get a sort of holiday writing something else. And I did a break and I wrote this movie. But there were many, many ideas and notes and scenes that in the past I gathered and I put in a notebook. Yeah.
I love that your idea of taking a break from writing your TV show is to write a movie. That's not really a break.
No, for me it's a break because the TV show is definitely not easy to write. You have to control so many things, many characters. And compared to a TV series, a movie, but this is a personal movie, so the structure and the things, everything was very clear to me because it was my life. It was not something that I invented. So yes, then at the end, as you said, it was not an holiday because writing that movie meant a pain, meant something that I didn't realize completely how hard it was for me. Yeah.
Really? I mean, you knew you'd probably be dredging up some painful memories, but you just weren't prepared for I guess, how painful?
Sapevi che avresti scatenato delle cose tristi, però non sapevi fino a che punto sarebbero state.
Yes, of course. Once that you start to write, you know the starting point, but you don't know where you will arrive because the writing is something that builds step by step. So yes, it was not easy to predict the consequences of what I was starting to write.
Wow. I mean, it's obviously such a personal story for you, and yet at the same time, it's been embraced all over the world. It won the Silver Lion at the Venice Film Festival. You've been nominated for Academy Award. How does it feel knowing you made something so specific to you that is so universally beloved by people?
Well, for me, it's a great joy. It's also a great relief because, of course, this kind of movie, I thought it was important for me, and there was the risk that the movie was important for me, but not for the other people. So I was very relieved that my ideas, my pain, my joy about my life was shared with other people and with an audience. Yeah.
I mean, you've traveled all over the world with this movie. I'm curious, is there a different reaction in, say, like, the Italian cinemas to coming to America and watching it with an audience?
Not too much, because the movie at the end is simple. The movie faces feelings that everybody with different stories has proved in his life, because all of us have a grief or have a family. So the feelings are pretty universal, and the reaction around the world where I have been more or less was the same, because the movie, how can I say, brings to simple reactions, to laugh and to cry, most of all. Yeah.
I mean, it is funny because in so many ways it reminds me of my family. This crazy big family, and there's the people that nobody likes, and there's the people that everyone is beloved. So I think a lot of people can relate to the story.
Yes. The big families have some dynamics that are very similar everywhere. I think so. Yeah.
So you were born and raised in Naples, where the film is set, and you actually shot there. It's one of my favorite places on earth. What is it about Naples that inspires you?
It's not easy to say. Naples is for sure a city where I learned to laugh. It's a city full of people that have a behavior very close to the comedy. So for sure, the humor or the sense of irony that sometimes appears in my movies comes from there. And it's also a beautiful city. It's a city where I grew up. So for me, it means everything, because of course we are what we were when we were young, when we were a boy. That's the most important thing that happened for me in the life of a human being.
I want to talk about putting together this amazing cast, starting with your frequent collaborator, Tony Servillo, who you've worked with him for years. What's the secret to such a successful collaboration over all this time?
We have the same approach to the work. We are good workers. We are very involved in the movies we do, but at the same time, we are able to laugh and to make the things easy. Yes, we have exactly the same approach to the work, and this is very helpful, because we don't need to find a deal each other. We have a deal from the beginning, and a natural sort of deal. Yeah.
At what point do you let him know you're working on something for him? Did he know this project was coming, or do you just present him with the script and say?
Over the years, I hint to my project and to my ideas, but I really involve him when I have a script. Before having the script, I am not so good to explain what I want to do, so I prefer to not talk too much before having a draft of the script. So yes.
And obviously we have to talk about the fabulous young actor you found to play Fabietto. I mean, you had to find basically a young man who could carry this film and really take on these challenging moments. Where did you even begin with your casting?
Where did you? Sorry.
Dove hai iniziato?
I am lucky. I have a wonderful casting director that went to Naples, and she started to look for young actors that I didn't know. And among the others, she found Filippo Scotti. And he was definitely the right guy, because he's a good actor, he's shy, he's how can I say, indifeso, come diciamo? Defenseless. He was exactly what I was looking for. Yeah.
And this is his first movie, correct?
For him, I think so. Yes, he played. If I am not wrong, he played a small part in a TV show before that. Before this.
How long was the casting process? Because you have to know you have the right person for this role, and it's also a lot of pressure on him because he's essentially playing you. How many auditions do you think you put him through?
No, for him, I did many auditions because to play a main character is not an easy thing in my mind. So, because it was the first time that he was going to face a main character, I had the desire to be sure about that, and so I did many auditions to him. We did the rehearsal of all the script. And the rest of the cast was pretty easy to find because they are actors from my city that I know very well. So in few weeks, I found everybody I was looking for. Sometime I had some ideas from the beginning about specific roles. Yeah.
So was Filippo the last person cast?
No, it was the first one. I started. I started from him. Because if I didn't find him, probably it was harder to do the movie. So I was ready to give up, of course. Yeah.
I mean, this ensemble really feels like a family on screen, and that means all the good and bad that entails. How did you go about, developing that family dynamic that's so central to the film? Did you have a lot of rehearsal?
No, I didn't do rehearsal at all. They are a family themselves. They are actors that they know each other very well. In many other situations, they worked together in theater. So they are a family themselves. Then that kind of relationship among people in the family, it's something in my city very common. It's not only my family, but also the family that they belong. So everything was easy for them to do. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to hear you didn't do rehearsal though.
I don't love rehearsal at all because rehearsal don't give me a sort of, how can I say, mystery that can happen during the shooting. If I know where the actors are going, the shooting run the risk to be something of routine. And so I prefer to avoid the rehearsals. Yeah.
Do you do many takes, or do you like to keep that small too?
Not too many. I do 3, 4, sometimes 6, but it's very unusual that I do more than 6 takes. Because the actors, yes, I think that they give the best in the first takes, probably in my mind, for what I am looking for. Yeah.
Among many other things, this film is such a love letter to cinema itself, and you pay homage to the greats like Fellini, obviously, and your mentor, Antonio Capuano. Mm-hmm. Did you always know he'd be a character in the film? Did you tell him he was going to be part of this movie?
I told him, but he's a weird person, so he refused the idea that I was going to put on the stage somebody that reminds him. And also, so far, I don't know if he watched the movie or not. He never told me, and so I don't know. I don't know what's the reaction. I don't know if he was happy or disappointed about the idea to be in a movie. I don't know. I really don't know.
How did he really help with your career starting out?
Come ti ha aiutato a iniziare la tua carriera?
Capuano. Mm-hmm. He helped me because I was very young, and I sent him a script through a common friend that then became my producer. And he read this script, and he was looking for somebody to write with him a comedy that he was going to do. And he called me. It was a very simple and unusual and surprising beginning for me, because yes. And so we started to write together, and then we became friends.
So that was your first movie that you wrote? Was with him?
First movie, yes. First movie that was realized, yes.
That's amazing. How has your relationship with cinema evolved from, when you were young to today? Because you've been doing this for a while, and you've probably seen so many changes.
Come è stata la mia relazione col cinema?
Come si è evoluta in questi anni, perché lo fai da tanto tempo, avrai...
Yeah, what can I say? When I was young, of course, I was more obsessed by the movies, and I was using to watch 2, 3, 4 movies every day. And this relationship is a little bit changed over the years. Now I definitely watch less movies than before. And what can I say? I don't know. I grew up in a moment in the 90s when there were so many beautiful, unpredictable, weird American movies that I loved, and that was the moment where I completely fall in love with the cinema. If I remember all the Cronenberg, Scorsese, Coen brothers, Spike Lee, and many others, Quentin Tarantino. There was a moment where every movie was something of special and unusual. Maybe this thing is a little bit in my mind less present now, so I am not disappointed, but less in love with the movies. Then, to be honest, when you start to do movies, you change a little bit your perspective as a viewer, as a spectator. So you are more interested to see the movies. Then I work a lot, and when I write or when I shoot or when I am editing a movie, I don't go to see movies because I am afraid that they can influence me. There are for this reason there are many moments in which I don't see the movies because I don't want to see the movies. Yeah, I don't want to watch movies. Yeah.
All those filmmakers you mentioned are still making movies today. What are some of the films you've seen recently that, or not even recently, but that like you have really responded to?
No, the Coen brothers, I love everything they do. Tarantino as well. They of course they kept to do wonderful movies. Maybe it's my perspective that's changed. I was young, I was ignorant about the movies. Everything appeared to me like a miracle, like something of new that I was learning. Now that I am older, of course, and doing the movies, I know many things, and so it's more difficult for me to be surprised for a movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the last time I was really surprised at a movie. I actually feel like it happened recently, but I can't think what it was.
Yeah.
There's obviously this great tradition of coming of age stories on film that Hand of God is now part of. Were there any previous movies that informed your work making this movie?
Not directly, because I preferred to avoid to watch movies about coming of age before doing my movie, but for sure there are movies that I loved, like Stand By Me by Rob Reiner, and Au revoir les enfants de Louis Malle is a movie that was a great coming of age. So there are movies that I remember very well, and probably they influenced me.
So Naples is obviously gorgeous on its own, but it's such a distinct city. I really want to know about working with your director of photography to capture the specificity of the look in the film.
It was an easy work because the thought at the beginning of the movie was to put on evidence the feelings of the characters, asking to all the other things like the director style or the photography or the work of the production designer or the costumes to do a sort of a step back, to not be too much invasive, to be sober and neutral. So this was the thing that I said to everybody, and they were very respectful of this idea. In order to have the feelings and the feelings of the main character above all, like the most important thing.
You mentioned that it could be hard to write this movie because of all the emotion involved. What was it like to shoot it and recreate these experiences from your youth? Was it sad, or was there some joy in it?
No, it was more joyful because because at the first month of shooting, we were finally out of the pressure of a pandemic, and this brought to me and to all the crew, to all the actors, a sort of enthusiasm and of joy of living. Then it was summer, we were shooting at the sea, so it was a wonderful moment that I remember with great happiness. Yes, sometimes there were some scenes painful, but maybe it was less sad than the writing, because the shooting means also that there are many people around you. You are more distracted by the usual things that happen on set. So I didn't have too much time to be focused on my pain and on my memories. I just was shooting a movie. Yeah.
When did you actually shoot this? Because it was pretty well into the pandemic, I think.
I shot during the summer of the last year. And yes, in Italy during the summer we had a few cases of pandemic. Then from the fall, they raised up.
Oh wow! So you were this was new territory coming back from COVID.
Era dopo la prima ondata.
Yes, exactly, yes.
I love that this movie is a love letter to movies itself, but also kind of a love letter to football.
Yeah.
Are you still a fan? How has your fandom changed?
I am a big fan of the football. Yeah, it's one of the things that I love to do, to watch football matches. When I was younger, I loved to play. Now I gave up. But I remained a huge fan of the football. Yeah, it's something that I like to do, and that relaxes me a lot.
You played. Did you ever think about pursuing a career in football?
No. I was a very normal, very average player. Yeah. Very special. Yeah.
Again, it's such a beautiful movie, and I always feel a little guilty asking what's up next, because you've just put out this beautiful film. But do you know what you're working on next?
Not yet. Now I am very, of course, busy about the campaign, so I am traveling around. It's not easy for me to focus on the next project. I need that everything is over, so I can sit at the table and thinking about a new project. Yeah.
When you're traveling around the world with a movie like this, do you actually get to enjoy these places you go, or is it all work?
No, I enjoy. It was a little bit tiring, above all during the winter because of the pandemic. So it's not easy to travel for 12 hours, 15 hours on a plane with the mask. It's something that all of us are living. So it's okay. It's fine. Yeah.
Well, again, it's such a beautiful film. I want to thank you on behalf of the SAG-AFTRA Foundation for sharing your experience and process with the fellow performers. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you.